بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم صلى الله تعالى على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. We're going to give the Allied Coalition Forces Boise speech to refute the events of last Friday that took place at the TMOA members. Yours truly clearly knows that one who is doing for Allah Jalla Jalaluhu and the one who is not doing for Allah are not the same. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala suffices those who do sincerely for Him, and those who are toying around with the deen of Allah, those who are toying around with any element, whether it's the Quran or the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala suffices us from them. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala suffices every single one of us who know that we have passed away yesterday before today, that tomorrow is not guaranteed to us. Every last one of us today, except that any family that has been torn from the Jilani Islamia. This Jilani Islamia was the magic in the sorcery, and the Islamic Jilaniya without Quran, without the message of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Today, any Jilani follower, you ask the TMOA member Talib the mission exactly of this man, and it's all of a sudden it's a big force. He's deceased, so there's no way to understand. But those of us who know Darul Islam, we know that the Dar was what he took over. And we know that what you are telling the members today that are speaking these rubbish about us reading Quran, you understand, about us reading the Salah in English. Those who claim that your forefathers were taken out of the ghettos, these fabrications, only to make the founder of the Jilani Islam, only to make him like mighty. Understand that this is short-lived, and believe the fact of the matter clearly, since it is not been able to substantiate. It has not been able to stand the examination of the brothers, incorporated brothers, or any of even the neutral parties, even those who just are looking for civil rights, those who are looking just to understand why such cult can exist in this time and age. Those none can refute the fact. And facts are brought up, and what do you TMOA members or cult, senior members and talibs do? You hide behind the women, the girls, and you think you can sweet talk us to slow it down. No, we will not slow a bit of it down. We will make very clear your falsehood, because this is not Islam. Your Jilani Islam, okay? We know 40 years ago he used the weakness of our people and robbed, okay, and looted and pillaged and enjoyed. Okay, we know this, and we know that this is the colonial way. We know that this was a way that he fooled a lot of people. And by the way, people did not understand. Today, and people did not even get the correct information. Today we have the internet. Information is surfacing clearly. We will not accept an Islam without the Quran. We will not accept in Islam that runs away, in that is secret, and that is only for a certain people, amount of people who, worshippers or praisers of other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or more than. No, it's unacceptable. It is called shirk. We cannot accept that. I mean, you understand what it is that the fractions of al-Islam are in the United States and, in the Western Hemisphere, all these different fractions, everybody coming up with their own fraction, so that, and they know that they're able to come up with these fractions because there are already so many fractions. That's what this thing is, this Jilani Islam, man. It is unacceptable. The wife herself, the gardener, you understand, anyone who knows the truth should come forward and say that this is exactly what happened. It is not right that you are having people wait for hours in the cold with their children before you arrive to be with the people, and then to say that the people were not human beings, so they had to be taught how to be human beings. It is unacceptable. Before they were taught Islam, it is not right. No one gave the right to Pakistan or India or Bangladesh. No one gave the right to Sri Lanka, you understand, to say that they're going to come to America and they're better than African Americans, the way they can make us slaves. No, it is unacceptable. We, the Allied Special Operational Coalitional Forces, will tell you right away, from an operational standpoint, it is unacceptable. Likewise, we are going to say the same thing to the officials from the West End area. Verily, after 2 years, you're finally coming out clearly in front of everyone. This is the Iblisi way, in front of everyone, admitting to the fact that you actually did suspend and cutting off, as you're doing again, the Quranic contracts. Let me explain something to those of us who do not know. The Quranic contracts, this is a right of the people, a right of every Muslim citizen. Any given time, any given place that there's a house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, any Muslim citizen should be able to walk in there and get their right. It doesn't matter what time of the day it is. Even non-Muslim should be able to walk into a masjid 24 hours a day and get their right too, because this is the house of Allah. Then what is the Muslims' right? The Muslims, they have their right to the zakah, to the sadaqah. They have their right to the consultation, because ad-dinu nasiha, and those who know the hadith. But the bottom line is, the non-Muslim also, if they go there and they're seeking for their rights, they will get their rights. What is their rights? For them to understand what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying. What is Islam? But when you are building these buildings, you investors, you people thinking that, fame, money and power, this is the way to get, worldly advantages, and then continue to exploit the masses using various aliases. To be very honest and fair, you will take only what the shaitan has enticed you to take. But because of the lack of sincerity, you will not be accepted from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala any effort. Likewise for TMOA people. TMOA people, you think that believing in someone and mentioning and praising them more than you mention Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not accepting clearly the fact that the qualifications for the accreditation was not there for this man. And I'm speaking to those who were there when we were teaching the Quran back on Ahmadabad, East and West. We did not speak up back then because we did not fully understand. We could not fully see and make the correlation until the Quranic revolution, declaration in 2021. But you've been shown the truth now, and we'll be explaining to you. You knew the Quran. The Quran is what it is that we speak, and we're telling you that the Quran has refuted the possibility of being some mujaddid that has already come and go. It is unacceptable under these circumstances. And you refuse to relinquish that in what he had no right to begin with. And accept the fact that Imam Yahya Abdul Karim rahimahullah was duped. And move on. And of course we said, the options were there. We said that yes, we are there. You understand, the general amnesty corridor is there. However, we gave our own families, we gave them 3 days to renounce it entirely and completely. 3 days. Long-winded response, but no renouncement. So in other words, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has decreed the aftermath of the Mubahala. Since you do not want to openly denounce this, this sorcery way of Islam, you understand, and okay, we will see about that, but the same for those who think that this Quranic Revolution Declaration was done on a personal level. No, this Quranic Revolution Declaration was done on a very clear, intellectual, informative level. It was extremely transparent. What was clear was that these uncles, quote unquote, they buy, you understand, various businesses, and they believe that they're now going to use the masajids as, and it's not now, they've had them for so long. What do they do? So, when they are buying a building or in addition to the building, they would put up the money, they would pull the money, to do that from their own pockets. Then they would do a fundraising. Mind you that the fundraising that they're doing, when the collecting of the funds on that, will eliminate what it is that they had. And then they also get a tax discount on what it is that they have paid. That's number one. Number two, the problem is, when the Quranic Revolution Declaration was done at both properties, in Henrico, and of course we are receiving, because, when the ban was done to the Quranic contracts that were there, it came from various, a good 5-6 localities from the West alone, because there was quite a few number of operation there. However, the point of the matter is you cutting off Quranic education to the community because you have personal vendetta. Why? Because we are telling the people the truth. Because the people are now waking up and seeing that you are just exploiting the situation. You're taking advantage of the lack of information and knowledge of people. You all are not doing what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has specified in إِنَّمَا الصَّدَقَاتُ لِلْفُقَرَاءِ وَالْمَسَاكِينَ. The wayfarers are coming and they're getting turned back by you. You've built a social wall to where you do not even want to accept anything that is happening to the indigenous that actually need Islam. You do not want to develop the people, you in communities on the basis of the Shahada. You came here before the electricity because of the water that is always running. You came to the United States so that you can increase your power, so that you can increase your wealth, you can increase your resources. This was never the way of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And any who think that they can, use this to actually get into the graces of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they have something else coming. It is unacceptable. You worshipping fame and money and all these politicians, we do not care about that. This is not our problem. You can continue to think that that thing is going to get you somewhere, that's on you. But for us, we have our mission. Our mission is to carry out the Prophet ﷺ's military mission all the way to the moon. And if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put one up there that we are to face, He will raise us all the way up there or bring them back down. By Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you took out the military history of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in teaching the people Islam, and that is wrong. You also made sure very well that you took out anything that will prepare the people, spiritually prepare the people. You took out the Quran, how the actual bylaws in living upon the Quran. You took out the system of thinking, the doctrination, yes, the doctrination of the Quran, you've taken it out. And you have given the masses and the generations and generations to come the wrong Islam, to where the community is divided. The community is not united. You've gotten to a point where the community is at each other, all because of the fact that you are taking out the message that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put inside of the Quran. You're taking other ways, you're encouraging your children so often to become so many things. But those who are reminding their children to learn about the rulings of the Quran are very few. Why? Because you believe that these other professions will make them somehow advanced. And then you actually think that by saying certain things that this is sincerity somehow. And it's unacceptable. Whether it is you worshiping another person or you're worshipping other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whoever it is, whatever it is, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not accept any deeds that are insincere, any deeds that are done. Worshipping other than Allah, taking another word before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's word. And clearly Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says for you to go and to do research, for you to go and you to look back in time and know where you're heading, know where you're going. You have people nowadays who think that they can actually refute the Quran. People who believe they can find mistakes in the Quran. Astaghfirullah al-aliyyul azim. But clearly, anytime, any place, anywhere, someone want to come and talk about the Quran, at least come with two ayahs that complement each other. At least two. At least two ayahs that are substantiating one another. Because I see, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sees those who think that they can outsmart and deny the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This Islam has come to benefit the entire humanity. And anyone who denies the truth of it in such a state and refuse to embrace, renounce the falsehood that they were in, and make tawbah and istighfar for being in that, by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with the Quran that He had given to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, which He recited on the tongue of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. All that in which is false of it, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala create it to sink under the feet of those who really believe in it. For indeed, وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَنْ يَتَّخِذُ مِنْ دُونِ اللَّهِ أَنْدَادًا يُحِبُّونَهُمْ كَحُبِّ اللَّهِ. We are going to make sure that everybody understands وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَشَدُّ حُبًّا لِلَّهِ, those who really and sincerely believe. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us the Quran, and we're holding on with the Quran. And in it He has promised us victory. And He has promised us the Jannatul Firdausi by this. And He has also refuted what it is that you all have been involved in. All of these extra things making Islam difficult, all these applications, all of those who neglect to look into the affairs of the people sincerely in order to assist and to aid, although they are in a position to do so. All of those who have arrogance and who take Islam as a mockery and as a joke. All of those who think that they can toy around with the Islam and that they can become somehow rich off of it without any justification. Those who think that they can utilize their own personal gains and lower whims and desires and resources to subdue that those Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made to be His Khalifas on this earth have something else coming instead. by Allah Jalla Jalaluhu. It is very clear that any and every who have given the bay'ah, the oath of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, will make you one promise and one promise alone. Turn around and give your shahadatu an la ilaha illallah wa anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. Allied spiritual coalition forces will accept any bay'ah that is going to be given on behalf of those whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has accepted, and he whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed to be the Mujtahidu Sharif. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala clarify and enable every member of the coalition forces, the Quranic and non-Quranic, the citizens, Muslimin and non-Muslim citizens alike. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make this ayah, and we will all witness it and be given the Islam and be given the prosperity as well as that in which he most sees to be best befitting upon us, with the shahadatu an la ilaha illallah wa anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. We will continue on the effort, we will not relent. And alhamdulillah rabbil alameen for all of the special units, senior, junior, middle and higher level command. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu.